And we are live. Welcome, everybody, to Afterburn Soccer. We were away last week, but we are officially back. It was a busy week last week, and we've got some positive news to talk about for once. So we welcome you. You can share your comments, your questions. It'll shape the show. We try to keep things tight at about 30, 40 minutes at most. Hey, maybe you'll get us to run over a little bit if you keep peppering us with questions. I'm the host here, Nathan. You can follow me at Nathan J. Hill there on X, and our buddy Jose, who was there live at the Colorado Rapids game when Dallas lost to Colorado. We'll talk about that in a minute.
What's everybody, and please don't remind me.
Yeah. You can follow him at El Chico Carmona. But let's start off with the good and positive news as we get into this, and that is after that 2-1 loss at Colorado, with a lot of just a lot of disappointment, a lot of pressure on this team. I think FC Dallas came home to Frisco and got a huge win that just might be the catalyst they need to put all of that bad form behind them and look ahead to the season and build something special. Goals from Petar Musa and Sebastian Ibeagha. So let's just start off with the reactions to the match. Jose, what were your reactions to this big win for FC Dallas?
Well, it was good for everybody, a big win against a hated rival. So no complaints there. I think the team still showed signs that it was struggling, but a win at home, a must-have win against against your biggest rival. You can't just ignore that. I understand that there was a red card involved and whatnot very early too, which is, by
Which
the
was
way,
earned, by the way,
as
right?
far as I'm concerned, great.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
it was an earned red card by Farfan of all people, who's been missing, and it's great to see him come in and make an instant impact. A player that when you think of all the struggles this team has had, you wonder if he was there, if he would have alleviated some of those troubles. He looked good going forward too. I mean, certainly way more consistent than anything we've seen from Dante, who's very sporadic. The player he replaced. Uh, excellent all around play also. And I want to say that I see this as a continuation of the end of the Colorado match, which, by the way, at the end of the Colorado match, the team came to life a little when Bernard Kamungo came on and certain players came on, and you saw the team come to life. And I like to think that this is an extension of that. Even though it wasn't anything good enough to get us all like, oh, we're definitely back. It still eases the pressure from the team, and it gives them something to build on. And the team looked excellent once Jesus came on. I mean, I am salivating at the possibility of him actually starting side by side with Musa and seeing what kind of damage those two can do together.
I agree. I agree with that. So many good positives on the injury front, and really, this was a game of two halves. You can't go into any game and expect as a coach in any professional league that you're going to get gifted a red card, and it was on Dorsey, it was on Houston. It was either going to lead to a goal or the Houston keeper was going to have to make a great save against Farfan, but just good heads up play. The challenge was that for 45 minutes FC Dallas was a man up, but had a little more conservative lineup on the field. I mean, they had Ilaramendi. They had Delgado on there. They had Ferreira on there. And actually, you can't fault their play. I think there was some good stuff out of them. And even Delgado started to show, I think, some of his bite and what he brings to this team. But they lacked an attacker, and you didn't want to bring in an attacker that early. Maybe you wanted to see if the team could figure it out. But so, that's where in that first half, even though Dallas was up a man, there were times you were like, are they up a man? Like Houston was just sitting back.
Here's the thing, though, to add on what you're saying is they looked like a team that was starting 5 men in the back line, and we're starting also 3 defensive midfielders.
Yeah.
I mean,
right.
Basically 8 defensive oriented players out there, and yes, they they lacked bite going forward, but at the same time, you weren't really worried about getting scored upon.
Right. They
And at
absolutely.
the end of the day, let's not forget that Nico was brought here to fix the defense, and at the start of the season, the defense has been lacking. And if anything, if you're talking for Nico, going back to the basics, going back to what works, defense has always worked for him until the start of the season, and I can't blame him. He needed. Let's face it, he does have some heat on his seat right now. Uh, Everybody knows it, and he needed to get a result, and he wanted to make sure that this team wasn't going to blow this game in the first half like they've done some other games where they've allowed a goal in the first half. And so I can't blame him for that. And
Yeah.
yes, I wish they would have. I wish they would have dropped 4 or 5 on Houston, but I'll take 2. I'm happy with that.
Well, Houston, if anything, we know they're always a pretty solid defensive team, and their coach is going to drop them back in that scenario. So it's just kind of an unfortunate situation where they had maybe sort of expected that Houston was really going to, I don't know, push or what, and so they set up a formation to kind of take advantage of that. Then they're up a man, and so unfortunately you could sub at that point, but. So it was an interesting set of reality, but coming in the second half, they made some adjustments, they made some changes in the lineup, and things really turned on
But let's also
for
add
FC
that,
Dallas.
not to interrupt you, but let's also add that Houston's having a good year, and their fans were certainly very confident they weren't coming to Frisco and walk out with 3 points. And not just them, but I know a lot of people were just missing, you know, Dallas from getting 3. I mean, they were saying, okay, sure, they might get a draw being at home, but let's face it, of the 2 teams, Houston came in the better team and the team expecting to get a result on the road.
Mm-hmm.
And I was very happy to see them go home with their tail between their legs.
Good, yeah, good stuff, and it was good to see Jesus take the field. Let's jump over just for a moment, and of course, we welcome any of you watching. If you had a comment about the game, something that you liked about the match, chat and I don't know that our Facebook feed is working today, but YouTube on Twitter. Here's Ibeagha on being asked some questions after the game about his performance.
You know the importance of stopping a tough stretch. Yeah. How important was this win tonight?
It was very important. Obviously, it makes it a little better that was against Houston as well. But yeah, I mean, we've been kind of downhill for a while, and it was good to notch 3 points and kind of kickstart hopefully a good run.
Can this be a momentum changer? Sometimes when things are going badly, it just takes one thing, right?
Yeah, no, 100%. I think that's kind of the big thing we take out of this is the job isn't finished yet, and we still got to work hard, but at least we got 3 points out of this one, and we can move forward.
I mean, there were 2 great goals tonight, but yours was so much fun. I mean, the header, it was so much fun. Can you just walk us through what happened?
Yeah, I mean, we've been playing short. They're down a man, so we've been playing short, trying to draw them out. And Sam did what I always tell him to do, is just take a touch and put it back in the box. And I just kind of hung out on the second post and kind of just saw the ball coming. And I saw, what was the goalkeeper's name? Steve Clark, kind of come out. And I was like, it's a jump ball, and I think I can win it. So, yeah.
Easily enough.
Yeah, easily enough.
Awesome.
Easily enough there. Good to hear from Sebastian.
I like the confidence from him.
Yeah, and I think that's the question. We'll get to this clip here in a minute, but it's just not been FC Dallas's year so far. It's not been fun to watch. Certainly been a few moments where we've kind of wondered what if. But here's one thing I know from this game, and Jose, I'll be curious if you agree, if you disagree. But for once, FC Dallas really did get a legit striker. I mean, Musa has not had much service. I wish he was scoring more, but you can't score if you don't get the ball. But when he has gotten some opportunities, for the most part, in very limited circumstances, very difficult circumstances, he has put together some really classy finishes, confident finishes, in limited action. And that feels like, for me at least, hey, Musa is not going to be the issue for this team not making a run or figuring things out over the stretch of the season. It's going to be on other guys, whether they step up or not. What is your thought? What is your reaction to that?
Oh, I agree 100%. You saw when Jesus came on. I mean, that pass he had to Musa, where the Houston defender had to pull, scramble, pull animation scramble to prevent Musa from taking a shot. I mean, that's something we can all get used to, and I agree. It's Musa. It's a player that needs service and has been lacking it, and has managed to score 3 goals with the few opportunities he's had. So this bodes well for this team. The more, I mean, a player that actually gets more comfortable with other players, and other players start getting more confident with simply getting the ball into the box. So I mean, that's something that I don't think we've seen is a confidence really from our non-key players. Our wing backs or midfielders. If nothing's happening and Musa's down there, just get him the ball. Don't
Yeah.
worry if it's going to be a perfect pass or not. That's something they have to gain confidence in doing. And as he continues to score, I think you'll see that happen more, where the team looks less timid going forward, knowing that, hey, there's a player that can do something with very little. He's proven that he doesn't need much space. It's something that has been lacking from this team, and I mean, it's exciting to see him starting to get into a sort of groove.
Yeah, yeah. Second goal in as many games. Let's go ahead and jump over. After the match, well, you'll hear my question that I asked Nico, and it went a little bit. It was shared a bit on social media because it was an interesting question, and it was interesting to see how Nico responded of how to build off of this win. Let's listen in. Hey, Coach, congratulations on the win. I'm just curious if this represents an opportunity for you with the team just to kind of reset the season, to let go of some of the negativity and some of the frustration, and just kind of start fresh and really work on building something special this season. Is that something you'll kind of speak with the guys about this week?
No, I want to carry this pain, that we have suffered. I think this pain that we've suffered through these last weeks or month, not winning. I want to keep it inside of me. I want to fire. I want my players with fire. I don't want to reset anything. I think big teams are built through bad times. Mentality of those teams are built through those bad times, and I want to have that pain in here the whole season. To when arrive the end of the season, take that pain away, feeling proud about what we've done this season, and we have to keep that pain there. It's not reset. It's what it is. We embrace that we didn't do well, and we learn from that and go forward.
Good teams or big teams are built off of that pain. That was really almost very poetic, very Coach Lasso kind of esque, kind of a quip, a wisdom there. I mean, it is because my tendency would have been that situation to say, hey guys, let's forget how rough this has been. It's a new season. It's a new day. Let's let it all go. We're in a new place. Guys are getting healthy. Let's just move forward and let it go and kind of start over. But he wants them to live with that pain. He wants them to live with the poor results. So what was your reaction to his comments, Jose?
I like what he said. I think he was saying that he wants his team to play with a chip on his shoulder, and let's be frank here. Traditionally, FC Dallas has played best as an underdog, and having that you know, nobody believes in us, and having that whole us against the world going forward is something that a talented team can take advantage of, and I think that's what he's talking about. He's like, he doesn't want his team to forget this. He wants them to say, hey, look, when we were down, people were saying how terrible we were, and let's face it, they're still not out of it. But he wants them to play with that underdog role even once they get healthy. Because let's face it, to start the season, Dallas was kind of a dark horse darling for some people, saying, "Oh, with Musa, it's gonna fix everything," and there were some people, including a lot of us fans, who were excited about what Dallas could do. But that's all gone. And Nico, that's what Nico's saying is, hey, I don't want to forget. I want to have that chip on the shoulder, and now we can use that and use it against our opponents. And even it doesn't matter who we play. I want you to go out there and play like that. Uh, we're here to upset everybody. every game going forward, and I like it. I like it. I know I don't think a lot of our fans, I don't think a lot of our fans agree with what he said, but or misunderstood what he was trying to say, but I like that he said that.
Yeah. Well, there's something interesting there that to keep that as a motivation to say, we're better than what we've shown. We're better than those first results of this season, and we can't reset our standards or just pretend like it didn't happen. So very interesting stuff. So good news is for FC Dallas, things look a lot better than they did last week when FC Dallas went to Colorado. Had to go to our old buddy Owen Goal show up for a couple of times, despite a late Musa goal that gave it just a little bit of hope at the end. Jose actually has a trip report. He went there.
Went
he
to
was
Colorado.
there. Went to Colorado. Went to his first game to watch FC Dallas. Yeah, it's weird to be an away fan in this league, right?
It is. It is. I was sitting. I wasn't in the supporters section or the away section. I was in with all the Rapids fans, and they weren't too bad to me. I mean, I didn't really get hassled or anything like that. Not overly hassled anyway. More like friendly jabs and stuff like that. But in all honesty, yeah, it was a nice stadium. It was like a bowl. It was like a pit. It's like you come in, and then it drops down, so you can see the whole stadium. You go down to your seat. I don't think there's a bad seat in the house. In all honesty, I liked it. It's a nice mid-sized stadium. I've been to bigger stadiums, NFL stadiums and whatnot.
Okay.
So when I say mid-size, I'm being generous. It's by NFL standards, it's like a third of a size of that. But still, it was a nice stadium. It looks like it's got a stadium that could be made bigger if they wanted to. But like I said, I appreciate the fact that if I got up to go get a beer, I could still keep watching the game and not miss anything. It was nice. The crowd was friendlier than other road stadiums I've been to, and so I have zero complaints. I would definitely do it again, and might go there again in the future. Hopes that I have family there.
Oh, good stuff. Yeah, it's fun to check out other stadiums. It's fun to see, especially how stadium technology evolves and different stadiums do stuff. I mean, I say the most posh experience I had, I was kind of chatting with Jose before the show, was just doing media coverage when FC Dallas played Los Angeles FC at the end of the last season. That's a new stadium. It's an incredible stadium. And one of the things that you even notice is not even what's on the field or kind of in the seats, but just the background stuff, the tunnels where the players move and where fans and family members can sit, and the post-game bar and all this kind of stuff, that lounge. And it was just like, oh, okay, because Frisco doesn't have that kind of stuff. But some stadiums don't, but some newer stadiums, they're just adding on to all this kind of thing. So it's an exciting thing to see. Yeah.
I do want to say that from what I saw, that stadium crowd there's very similar to what you get for FC Dallas, where it's family orientated. I saw a lot of people there with their kids, and the people around me I didn't think were at least about as knowledgeable about FC Dallas as they could, So when like Kamoa comes on and I'm pointing out, hey, that's one of our better players who for some reason hasn't been getting a lot of playing time, and you should keep an eye on him. And then of course Kamoa comes on and looks great against Colorado. I mean, it was like, when Tafari came on, having explained to him, hey, that's actually our best defender, for some reason he hasn't getting playing time, people were like, oh, well, I was wondering, a lot of them didn't know who that was or what they were doing and why they should worry. And of course, when they came in, that's when Dallas started playing better. So, but yeah, no, it was a very family friendly atmosphere, which I know it's something that Dallas goes for also. And it tells you the kind of crowd that teams outside the bigger clubs in MLS strive for is you can get a consistent crowd if the family that shows up has a good time, win or lose.
Good stuff. Well, let's go ahead and shift over in the conversation to look at North Texas. North Texas, meanwhile, remains undefeated. It's contrast to sort of the struggles FC Dallas has had. North Texas has come out and and still figuring out their groove, but haven't maybe been as punished for it, but actually have been pretty good offensively, and that has maybe counteracted some of the defensive issues that they're still working out. They welcome Dynamo 2, Dynamo Dos, as we call them, to Choctaw Stadium on Sunday evening, and went up a 2-0 lead and then gave up 2 goals kind of late on to Dynamo Dos. Both goals were sort of these unlucky kind of situations, counterattack, free kick kinds of things where the ball doesn't get cleared the right way. So it's really disappointing for them, just a lack of concentration, a lack of cohesion. But otherwise, a really strong performance that North Texas controlled throughout until up 2-0. They just sort of allowed Dynamo Dos to get back into it. Opening goal from Enes Sali, who the team spent a good chunk of money on. FC Dallas spent to bring him into the system. Don't know when he's going to make that senior team debut, but the kid is good. The kid had a really nice goal, really classy, good skill to get things started. I think maybe in a month or two, maybe even Open Cup play here in a week or two, that we're going to see Sali get some minutes with some more senior team guys, and we'll see what he can do there. Lots of talent for this team overall. Yeah, Jose, what were your thoughts?
Good, bad thing is one thing is you can't really be too happy with the 2 points. I mean, this
Sure.
Dynamo, this is their first point earned this season.
Right. No, I mean that's
and so you're at home, and you got an ailing team, and you're up 2-0, and frankly, some of those I saw those goals scored, and I remember the second one vividly, in that the team was simply struggling to maintain possession. They had the ball, they turn it over, Houston comes forward, they recollect, they try to go forward, boom, they turn it over the ball 3 times in a row, and Houston would eventually punish them with that tying goal off a turnover, and simply they just they look disorganized at the end, to the point where them not folding like last year is a sign of growth. That last year they would have totally allowed a third goal, and they scrap, but they you see where the team, it shows where the team still gelling. Yes, the starters have gelled, but when he's going to the bench, you are still seeing some issues there, and that's fine. That's something that they weren't punished for it. They still walked out with 2 points. Should have been 3, but Gaw had no issues bringing in reserves, and they'll learn from this, and they'll get better, and the team remains undefeated. And I guarantee you that's Gaw's gonna sit them down and show them film of that disjointed performance down the stretch. And
sure.
as I think as a manager, you're happy to say, to have the good and the bad, and have the teachable moments, which you'll have plenty to show them. And I think you got to be excited for this. If you're not watching North Texas play, other than last year's aberration of a season, this season they're back to being an entertaining team. When that goes out there and plays. I wouldn't say they play like a sexy style soccer, but they're not afraid to go forward quickly. Something we wish our team would do. In all honesty, they're a team that is not afraid to play like the old school,
Right.
hold the defensive line and then bomb forward and attack. Which we all wish FC Dallas would do more. They play the same formation, they just play it differently, and frankly, it's pretty fun to watch.
It is. No, I mean, I think that's kind of my observation of watching North Texas, is that for all their rawness, but you basically have a bunch of young guys who have bought into this opportunity and are playing maybe sometimes with more identity and passion than Dallas does at times, and that's a strange thing to watch. Granted, the competition level, yes, it's a lot different, and some of these guys with North Texas are are, definitely more talented than some of the guys they're facing, but still, they're playing with a lot of identity, a lot of passion. But they're still having to learn lessons about how to close out a game. If I asked Diego Garcia, who scored a goal in this one, and who's really fun to watch, and I think is making a case for a homegrown contract eventually, but just like, hey, we needed to keep the ball more at the end of the game. Like, we needed to figure out ways to hold on to possession,
And
slow the game down, and not give Houston those opportunities. And so, credit to
Yeah.
the youngster learning those lessons. Yeah.
And I want to say, being an undefeated team, being a young undefeated team, I love seeing teams like that because they're young and they're fearless because they feel unbeatable. And they keep getting results like this when they look like they were about to, fumble the points, and they still pulled it out. This builds character and it builds that we can't be beat mentality that you see from undefeated teams. And I believe they're still the only undefeated team in MLS Next Pro, and that's massive going forward. Win as long as they don't lose and they keep winning and drawing. It builds an aura around them where other teams are starting to go, well, you know, this is not like last year's team where last year people were like, if we can just keep it close, this team's going to fold and they're going to allow us to get a goal in there because they just can't keep it together. That's not the case with this team. This is the opposite of that. This is where teams are saying, what can we do to walk out of there away from this team with 3 points? Because no matter what we do, this team just can't be beaten. And I love that about that young, undefeated mentality. The kids that don't know they can lose, they play like it's not an option. I love it. I love seeing it.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Well, so what's next for these two teams? FC Dallas will travel to Toronto, and Toronto has been a bit resurgent, a much better team than they were last season with a new head coach who's gotten some buy-in and gotten their designated players playing a lot better. This is not going to be this will be something where, like many away games, Dallas, I think, would be pretty happy with a point. But if they can sneak in there and take their chances, 3 points would be massive. Meanwhile, North Texas then on Sunday night, will travel to Sporting Kansas City 2 to take them on, and will try to keep their undefeated record going. Another little note about North Texas, too. I really like Michael Collodi, the goalkeeper. I think he's an academy kid. John Gall said he's known him for a long time. He's known what he brings, but is making a case for another guy making a case that, hey, you could do a lot worse than this kind of kid as a third string keeper or something. Has an up and down game. Gave up a couple goals situations. I know that he would like back against Dynamo Dos, but then in the PK shootout comes up clutch in the end yet again to give them that extra point. So like this kid a lot, and think maybe he's making a case for kind of stick around for a little bit. But
considering all the great young goalkeepers that FC Dallas has had in this past couple of years, that he seems to almost like a forgotten player for everyone but the hardcore fans that have followed him and have understood what a great kid this kid is. And while he's a player that has some of our players like Ferreira and stuff, you're like, their future could be elsewhere, a future. So there's a guy that you're like, 10 years from now, this guy could still be playing for FC Dallas. There's a player that is a solid performer, and I'm very happy he's doing well. I want to say a couple of things. The game against Sporting Kansas City 2 is a game for first place. Dallas has North Texas has a game in hand, and if they get 3 points, they would be tied for first. Depending on what the teams ahead of them do, with that game in hand. So honestly, they're 3 points out of first place, and Sporting Kansas City is 2 points out of first place. So it's a very important game for both of them, and definitely a match where you want to walk out of there with some points at all costs. Also, further note, I'm far more excited about our future U.S. Open Cup match against Memphis because let's face it, North Texas players will probably do most of the heavy lifting in that match. And seeing this team, forget what the senior team's doing, seeing what North Texas is doing, and knowing that the bulk of the players will probably come from this squad, I think it's going to be a fun game. I'm looking more forward to it than I was before. You know, watching North Texas and knowing that these players, probably backed up by some senior players, I'm looking forward to that match now. And as far as Toronto, we were just talking about the chip in the shoulder. Toronto sitting fourth in the East, coming off back-to-back wins. And you got to think their fans are licking their chops, looking at Dallas, looking at how low they are in the Western Conference and going, oh, yeah, that's easy 3 points. That's something Nico can work on and say, hey, look, nobody's expecting us to go to Canada and win. Toronto are going to be heavy favorites. There's no pressure on you to go out there and just do what we're working on, and let's walk out of there with a point or 3 points. Yeah, point against Toronto would still be an excellent result. I would prefer 3. Let's get some momentum going.
Sure.
But I'll take the point.
Right. Well, good. Well, good stuff. I mean, that's what I think we'll wait to see. I think we're all hoping to see how FC Dallas builds upon this big win at home against Houston. And if they can, turn it into a run that starts helping them recover those points, recover that position, and getting themselves in a better position come the end of May and at the beginning of the summer into a healthier team and a team that's starting to talk about, hey, we have postseason aspirations right now. Hey, meanwhile, by the way, San Jose is a mess. And I guess we're all in Lucci watch now to see what his future is going to be. But it's also New England. I mean, they hired a new coach. The Revolution are bad. They're just bad. So as bad as Dallas has been, and as the seat has gotten a little hot, it's still not been as tough as those situations. So there's always something. It always could be worse in this league.
Mind you, bad news for FC Dallas fans who are still hopeful that Nico will get replaced, because those two coaches in New England and San Jose are most likely to go first, and those teams like to shop in the same stratosphere as FC Dallas. So any coach that was top of the list for FC Dallas is probably top of the list for them. And you'll be getting like the third choice guy if Nico goes out. So further reason
what
to
you wish for, basically.
Yeah,
right.
Further reason to think of it might be better. Nico turns it around and at least hangs on for another year, because like I said, there's other coaches that are going to get fired ahead of him, and they're going to pick up the coaches that are on the same stratosphere. So yeah. Just throwing that out there.
It's an interesting season. You never know what's going to happen in Major League Soccer. Well, we'll leave it there for tonight. Of course, we'll post the audio on afterburn.soccer. Please subscribe for free even. And, of course, follow us on YouTube. Follow us on Facebook. Subscribe to us on your favorite podcast service. We appreciate all the support, small but mighty. Thank you, Jose, for your wisdom tonight. Thank you, everybody, and good night.
Yeah, you betcha, sure.